Hello everyone, and welcome to the end of the year. I figured, for the last video of the year at Saskia's World, and with the new changes coming up, I would just give you guys one long video of some of the most popular and most loved look back videos. Because, yeah, it seems to be a trend on YouTube the past few years with big YouTubers. And I just think it'd be cool to maybe get the word out about the show more, and just to show appreciation for you guys. And I am really, really excited for 2025. And I hope you guys are too. Enjoy the videos. Alright, let's talk about Vault Soda, Coca-Cola's short-term answer to Mountain Dew. Now I know most of you are probably like, what is this? And some of you are like, yeah, I think I remember this. And the rest of you, yeah, I know who the rest of you are watching. The die-hard Vault stands who will do anything to bring it back. And I am not joking here. Vault Soda has somehow amassed this cult following that I didn't even find out about until wanting to research about it. These people have dug up a hidden Vault commercial from the deep web, guys. Like, they are not playing around here. But with all that said, let's look at a brief history of Vault Soda. Vault Soda was invented in June of 2005 by the Coca-Cola Company in an attempt to bring in young customers and Mountain Dew customers, and seeing how Mellow Yellow wasn't doing so hot at the time, the drink marketed itself similar to that of a hybrid car, or as you guys might know it, the Hannah Montana effect. The best of both worlds. They claimed Vault Soda drinks like a soda, but kicks like an energy drink. Which is funny, because Vault was created as a competitor for Mountain Dew, but then Mountain Dew literally used this idea later to make Kickstart, so that's kind of funny. But Vault was coming in hot, baby, with slogans like, get it done and then some, the taste, the quench, the kick, and chug and charge. Sadly, between June 2005 and February 2006, only the Midwest and Southern states got this awesome blast from the past. But during that 2006 Super Bowl, when the Steelers were kicking the Seahawks' ass, we got a commercial. A Vault Soda commercial.
Good one. All right. Mitch must be proud of his boy. How do you feel about yours, Bill? If you want him to throw 50 yards, well, give him 50 yards. He's the fruit of your loins, Bill. Your firstborn son. Don't let him be the team mascot. You've got to clear the path to greatness. Don't let anything get in his way. Do you want your son's only glory to be belching the alphabet? No! You want to point proudly from the 50-yard line and say, that's my boy. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault, get to it!
And now that shit was everywhere. And little 6-year-old me even remembers this shit popping off, man. My mom worked at a convenience store at the time, and they were giving her Vault t-shirts. I was seeing Vault on TV. My cool older cousins were drinking it when they had cotton mouth. It seemed to be everywhere. And I'm not gonna lie, I will always be a Mountain Dew stan. This was not better than Mountain Dew, and honestly, from what I remember, it wasn't all that similar. Like, they marketed it as green and this kick-ass drink for dudes to love. Mountain Dew just has this essence and taste you just can't recreate. And from what I remember, it was more on the lines of Mellow Yellow and Fresca, other Coke products. But I did have a Vault Soda phase myself, so with this popularity and Coke distributing Monster Energy, why did it fail? Well, it didn't get off to a good start, that's for sure. In the same year it was nationally launched, Vault Zero along with Fanta Pineapple came under a lawsuit that the ingredients in them can make benzene, a carcinogenic. And for those of you that don't know what that means, don't worry, I didn't either, it means it can cause cancer. And in the mid-2000s, everything was causing cancer. Plastic, microwaves, ramen noodles, everything. So that did not bode well, although it did not stop them from creating a grape and peach flavor unveiled in the Freestyle machines, which I had no idea were around back then. Exactly a year after its national launch, they unveiled Vault Red Blitz, a direct competition of Mountain Dew Code Red. Coca-Cola had already launched another Code Red competitor with Mellow Yellow Cherry, which is still around today. But as you can tell, Vault was directly a Mountain Dew knockoff. Coke had no problem telling you this either, because remember that commercial I talked about earlier, Vault stands and cover from the deep web? Well, that commercial was totally dissing Mountain Dew, directly name dropping and everything. Here's some of it right now.
For eons, Mountain Dew has roamed the earth. Wild, reckless, and for the most part, unchallenged. Immune to disruptions in the delicate ecosystem of the citrus soda market. A categorical behemoth, best summed up with the words, "Where did?" There was a time when they were the only game in town. But times change. And recently, so did the game.
So other than the grape and peach varieties, what did Volt really offer? Well, it had about 1.5 times the amount of caffeine as Surge and Mountain Dew, and that's it. There was never any more flavors added. They stopped making new advertising campaigns for it, and the sales, well, just sadly plummeted. Maybe because of the early launch and so many die-hard Mellow Yellow scientists around the country, it seemed to only be doing well really in the South. Volt was not only competing with Pepsi's Mountain Dew, it was literally competing with Mellow Yellow fans and Surge, two Coca-Cola products. And eventually in that sad December of 2011, nobody got a Volt in their stockings, and nobody would ever see it again, when they all eventually ran out of stores or expired. Looking back at all this, I think it was obvious Volt wasn't going to succeed for two main reasons. One, Mountain Dew will always hold that citrus market. Other than Mountain Dew, what's the first citrus soda you think of? Sprite probably, right? A Coke product. Nothing at all in the same lane as Mountain Dew. And it was just a different time. 2006, 2011 was filled with MTV shows like Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory, Tosh.0. Skateboarding was at its peak since the early 90s. Monster, Amp, Red Bull, Rockstar are all giving little boys rad drinks, and Coke, being a well-established company, saw this. They knew that this was just a phase, and that's why they only had pushed it out then. They actually, when you think about it, are incredibly smart. I'm sure they capitalized off all of this during those years, and when it all started to die down and people realized they'd just rather have Mellow Yellow, Coke was like, don't worry man, I got you guys' back. But those are just my thoughts, and if you want Volt Soda back, there is quite obviously a petition that I will link in the description. Thank you all for watching. So the other day, I was scrolling through those personalized news stories your phone gives you when I saw an article mentioning SoBe, and it made me think, what happened to that little lizard? So today, join me on a dive into some of the most nostalgic water you'll ever remember. SoBe is an American brand that makes teas, juices, and enhanced water beverages. The name SoBe is actually a combination of the word South Beach, which is inspired by a beach in Miami. And they undeniably have one of the best 2000s logos you'll ever remember. Starting out on their own in 1995 as the South Beach Beverage Company, SoBe was co-founded by three men, Kevin McGovern, John Bello, and Tom Schwalm. Their first product to hit shelves was SoBe Black Tea 3G, which contained ginseng, guarana, and ginkgo, hence the 3G name. The drinks were iconically sold in glass bottles, and it ended up being a massive hit, which spawned them to make a few other flavors. They went on their own until 2000, when demand and production got a little too overwhelming, which led them to being bought by PepsiCo. SoBe, for what it's worth, has truly made its mark in the field of marketing. Over the years, they have orchestrated numerous successful marketing campaigns, leaving an undeniable impression on the industry. One of their distinctive trademarks has been the digital lizard emblem on every bottle, serving as a lasting symbol of the company's identity. SoBe has always prioritized their connection with fans through a digital newsletter known as Lizard Tales, which is a monthly newsletter for fans that offer deals, promotions, and news about the company. One notable product launch was SoBe Adrenaline Rush, a sports drink designed to be an alternative choice from Gatorade. This led to a wave of SoBe commercials centered around sports. SoBe is also no stranger to the big screen, with its drinks appearing in popular TV shows, movies, and video games. Notably, the game Oddworld featured SoBe drinks in vending machines, heightening their brand visibility. Similarly, the game Driver showcased vending machines stocked with SoBe drinks and even featured a specially themed SoBe truck. SoBe also engaged in promotional activities, allowing consumers to discover codes for prizes beneath their bottle caps. Their captivating promotion was aptly named Heads or Tails. They even had a Super Bowl ad at one point. SoBe has also forged strategic partnerships with various entities, including sponsoring the Chicago Rush cheerleaders, collaborating with Mike Tyson's main event campaign, and teaming up with AOL Fanhouse. Occasionally, SoBe has captivated audiences with their infamous skin suits, assigning models or celebrities to don these distinctive outfits. These moments have further solidified the brand's identity and left a lasting impression on consumers. Despite the passage of time, the essence of SoBe remains deeply rooted, symbolizing the vibrant spirit of South Beach and the iconic lizard emblem. The latest slogan for the drink is "Ride the Wild." Now normally I wouldn't give a whole section of a video to the flavors of products, they usually just come up naturally when I talk about their history, but SoBe is iconic in the sense that it's had so many damn flavors over the years. So let's see them all. Starting with the 7 you can still get today, we have SoBe Tsunami, a strawberry daiquiri flavored drink. SoBe Morning Patrol, a strawberry banana flavored drink. Liz Blizz, a pina colada flavored drink. South Beach Sunset, a mango melon flavored drink. Offshore Breeze, a cranberry flavored drink. Citrus Energy, which is just described as a citrus flavor, and green tea. Now we have everything they discontinued, and I tried my best to get the flavors for these names, trust me. So starting off we have SoBe Kai, a citrus flavored green tea. SoBe Adrenaline Rush, which was their drink to compete with popular energy drinks at the time. And I haven't forgot about the AMP video, I promise. SoBe No Fear, which was a separate drink from SoBe but made by the same people, and they came in these 4 flavors. SoBe Elixir 3C, an orange carrot flavored drink. SoBe Eros, which was in a clear bottle for some reason. SoBe Synergy, which was a carbonated juice product the company sold which had a variety of flavors. SoBe Nirvana, which is apparently a fan favorite flavor, but I could barely find the picture of this bottle. It's very bright orange. SoBe Special Recipe, which was their competition to vitamin water. SoBe Essential Energy, which was just a lighter, slightly healthier wave of energy drinks. SoBe Ice, which I think might be Liz Blizz now, but I'm not 100% sure of that. SoBe Zen Blend, which was a line of oolong and black teas meant to be calming. SoBe Wisdom, an orange mango flavored drink. SoBe Superman, which was a promo drink. I'm not sure if it was flavored differently than the other energy drinks or if it's just a rare skin. SoBe Good, which I couldn't find much about, but it's listed as a discontinued product. SoBe Dragon, a dragon fruit flavored drink. SoBe Love Bust Brew, a chocolate drink to compete with Yoo-Hoo. SoBe Lizard Lava, which is now called Tsunami. SoBe Lizard Fuel, which is now Morning Patrol. SoBe Lizard Lightning, which was a wolfberry drink. Is that even a real thing? SoBe Black and Blueberry Brew, which is a creamier drink flavored with black and blueberries. And lastly, SoBe Long John Lizard's Grape Grog, which was a grape juice based drink. At least 25 flavors have come and gone through the years, and now we're left with just the 7 I started with. On the SoBe website, they also have a section where they recommend mocktails and cocktail recipes. Maybe one day if I'm lucky, I'll get to do a taste test video on all these flavors. SoBe was an innovative company that came into a market where there was really nothing like it, and nothing really is still. They were full of innovative ideas from the start, and it shows throughout the company's history. They tried and failed many products, but all of them were made from these 3 guys' hearts and minds, and I think that's something we can all respect. And while the consumer market has changed over the years, as it always does, SoBe stuck to its roots, and sadly it just slowly became unfavorable to other drinks on the market. During an interview after being bought out by Pepsi, co-founder John Bello was quoted as saying, "Is it just a fad? I don't think so." And it didn't seem like one, as it kept its prominence for over a decade before slowly dying off in the 2010s. It's theorized a contributing factor to this was in 2010 they switched from glass bottles to plastic bottles, which many fans felt almost betrayed in a way, as they had always known SoBe for its glass bottles. It also said the plastic affected the flavor of the drink as well. With sales declining and eventually entering the pandemic era, SoBe just couldn't keep up the way it used to, and is now just a small little company still under PepsiCo, and you will be very lucky to find one anywhere, as you can't order them through the website, and it's very hard to find a place that sells them. And if you do, don't get your hopes up that it'll always be in stock. But all things considered, SoBe was a very iconic drink in the 2000s, and it still has a lasting legacy. With the iconic lizard logo and neon bright drinks, SoBe will always be remembered as one of those drinks we grew up with, and I'm definitely going to start keeping my eye out for them. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it every time you do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Pretty soon these look back videos will be the longest series I've ever done, across any channel, and I'm really proud of them. I hope you like them because I have more and more planned, and I think I'm going to make them a regular video, either weekly or bi-weekly, as I work on other style videos in between, but we'll see how that happens. Thank you all again for 500 subs and watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. Alright, let's talk about Silent Library, MTV's step into the world of game shows. Silent Library is, well, a game show on MTV containing of 6 contestants who draw cards, and whoever receives the skull and crossbones has to receive a punishment. Even though only one person gets a punishment per round, they always play as a team, and the money is made to be split 6 ways even at the end. The only way to fail a challenge is to make too much noise, which is indicated by this little meter right here, and that's pretty much it for the game itself. It was based on a segment from a Japanese variety show, Downtown no Gaki no Tsukeya Arahende, which is why the host Zero Kazama is a Japanese man. More on him in a bit. Oh, Zero. The first episode aired on June 15th, 2009, with the last being only 2 years later on May 13th, 2011. Still, they did get a good start with 15 episodes in the first season, spanning across only a month. Talk about pushing episodes out. It actually hit off so well that when the second season premiered, they got a bunch of celeb guests like All Time Low, We the Kings, Ron Jeremy, Asher Roth, Forever the Sickest Kids, Jesse James, Justin Bieber, and of course, the cast of Jersey Shore. They competed for the same amount of money as usual, but it was donated to their choice of charity. The second season also ran for exactly 1 month between January 12th to February 12th, containing 5 more episodes, 20 in total, with the success of the first season still bringing MTV big bucks, and now season 2 coming out with a bunch of celeb cameos, MTV was starting to see the success of the show. Season 3 came to us on June 28th, 2010, and oh yeah, MTV just started going head over heels with the celeb cameos. We got All Time Low back, Hey Monday, New Boys, the fucking New York Giants, like everyone was coming on this damn show. It's really a shock to me that the Fantasy Factory crew never came to one of these, although Chanel would probably make them lose every time. The third season is also the first season that took longer than a month to come out, but not by much. It spanned all the way from that June to August 5th of the same year, with another 20 episodes. Since it was basically a month, but just like a tad longer, I tried to see if there was something around this time that happened that possibly made them move like an air date back, but I didn't see anything. And last but not least, season 4, which premiered on March 28th, 2011, going all the way to May 13th though, the most spread out season so far. And we didn't just get 15 episodes like season 1, or 20 like 2 or 3, we got 30 episodes of this spectacular show. Only by this time, it wasn't that spectacular. Even though it was only on MTV for a short time and so many new episodes were coming out in such a small span, ratings were going down. I mean, it did well enough to stay on TV, obviously, but I'm sure you guys get it at this point. It's the same show. Like, a PG-rated Jackass stunts can only take you so far. I'm sure people were like, this is repetitive, and yes, you can argue every game show is repetitive because they have the same format, and that's literally the point. But in traditional game shows, the contestants are usually much different. Sometimes you got someone who really needs, like, any money, playing against, like, a NASA engineer, and they can actually talk about themselves, or in general, they seem more into the game they're playing. Like, Silent Library barely lets you know the contestants. It's mostly silent, obviously, other than the narrator, who I cannot find credits for, by the way, and Zero, the host, and like 20-year-olds with a Pete Davidson vibe snickering. Like, they're not like, oh my god, I'm on a game show. You can tell they're much more excited just to be on MTV and possibly get a few $100 for like an ounce of weed, which I guess how I would be too, but still. So anyway, tangent over, MTV realized this was not going to last and definitely rather fun stuff like Fantasy Factory, Wild 'N Out, Tosh Point Out, you get it. After a few months went by, November 9th, 2011, MTV officially announced the cancellation of Silent Library, but that doesn't mean the legacy is gone. If you guys watch MTV or have TV on casually in the background, you might have heard about it today as reruns, or you might have seen the reruns today on TV from time to time, usually on MTV2 though, and now the whole show is available on Paramount Plus. Looking back at the no, not yet. There's still more. So the host, Zero Kazama, remember how I mentioned him? Well, this guy, he's something else, let me just tell you that. In 2016, at the Manitou Springs Cliff in Colorado, Zero Kazama started shouting at tourists that they were all going to die. Literally no context, just showed up and started screaming. He fled the scene, then was eventually caught in a traffic stop for a DUI. So, you know, he went on to do some pretty cool things with his life. Alright, now, looking back at all this, it's obvious it wasn't going to last forever, for many reasons, and honestly now that I'm going back through it, I'm starting to think that MTV knew this from season 1. In just 2 years, 89 episodes of a show came out. Yeah, 89. That's actually crazy when you think about it, for such a basic concept. It's really perfect background noise when nothing else is on, or showing on TV that's interesting. It's a concept that will grab someone's attention at some point or another, from either just a punishment or the celeb cameos, and now they have like 90 episodes of a game show, they can do whatever they want, and replay forever because it's so simple and so many different episodes and segments. The chances of seeing the same 2 episodes within a month on TV of each other would be literally insane. And that's pretty much it for the story of this quiet little show. In 2019, Eliza Koshy started a YouTube series of her own, remaking the game kinda, which only had a few episodes but amassed over 6 million views. So it's cool to know that something so like weird and sacred from my childhood is still staying around. And yeah, I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for watching. orange juice, carbonated water, and sugar. Mix it all together, and you get one of the most iconic historical drinks to ever hit the market. Today, please sit back as we look back at a global phenomenon and one of my personal favorites, Orangina. Orangina was originally invented all the way back in 1933 by a Spanish chemist named Agustin Trigo in the capital of Valencia. It was a simple drink using orange juice, carbonated water, and sugar. It was given the name Orangina, and Trigo immediately knew he was onto something. In 1936, he took his concoction to the Marseille Trade Fair in France, which is a very big deal. Originally starting in 1924, the Marseille Trade Fair has become one of the largest fairs in the world, allowing many artisanal crafters from all over the world to share and sell their art with the rest of the world, usually with the hopes of expanding to other markets. And luckily for our friend Agustin Trigo, French businessman Léon Baton acquired quite the liking to the drink and saw his opportunity to capitalize on it. Sadly, however, Baton would never see the drink produced, as World War II was starting to create quite the conflict in France. But in 1947, his son, Jean-Claude Baton, took over his father's company and was able to finally start producing the beverage. He kept most of the original recipe with a few small differences to appeal to more of a European and North African market. And it was a success as it quickly became a staple of most North African countries. In 1951, Baton introduced the signature 8-ounce orange fruit-shaped glass bottle. In 1962, the company had to move its roots to the place where it took off, Marseille, as the country it was originally produced in, Algeria, had gained their independence. In 1984, the company merged with Pernod Ricard, the world's second largest wine and spirits seller. In 1978, though, the drink finally hit the North American market. Licensed through Cadbury Schweppes, it was originally called Aurelia, but was changed back to the name Orangina in 1985. It was originally produced in Canada, but was moved to Florida when the licensing was abandoned from Cadbury, who was slowing their roll in North American soda ventures, and was moved to Mott's, who was then eventually owned by Dr. Pepper. Due to the United States being ourselves, we had the only Orangina that was flavored with high fructose corn syrup instead of natural sugar. Canada's version of the drink used a mix of real sugar and fructose glucose. There are imported versions in Canada, however, that are made just like the European recipe. Production for North America was eventually moved back to Canada. This brings us to more modern times. In 2000, Pernod Ricard was looking to sell Orangina, and they wanted the biggest beverage company there is, Coca-Cola. But it was actually legally denied when they tried selling to Coke or Pepsi due to anti-competitive laws. And what that means is basically Coke and Pepsi are so large and have so much of a hold on the already existing global market that they are legally not allowed to acquire new companies. So every new product you see from them is usually created from inside the company. Orangina was eventually bought by Cadbury Schweppes, who already had experience with their brand in the North American market, but it only took 6 years, however, for Cadbury to decide they wanted to ditch the beverage business entirely and focus directly on chocolate. Kind of a bro moment, Cadbury. So, in 2006, Orangina was yet again looking for a place to call home. Coca-Cola and Pepsi were already denied, so eventually the company was left to be sold in pieces. Private equity firms Blackstone Group and Lion Capital LLP became the owners of the company under the name Orangina Schweppes and halted North American production entirely. In 2009, after a pretty ambiguous agreement, Japanese company Suntory became the sole owner of the brand and still is to this day. They have multiple licensing agreements with distributors all over the world, with some countries even having their own flavors and product lines. In North America, Orangina is distributed through Venture Food and Beverage Company. This is the complete list if you're interested. There's lots of people making Orangina out there, it's wild. The one downfall that came with Orangina was the pulp that would naturally fall to the bottom of the bottle. So, to make sure people had a great drink every time, they heavily marketed their Shake It slogan instead of just the little writing on the bottle like most companies. Once Suntory took over the company in 2009, they went heavily into traditional marketing, mainly with TV commercials and interactive events. Like this time when they had an Orangina vending machine made to purposely get your bottle stuck, forcing you to shake the machine. It was a pretty fun and innovative idea, especially since most carbonated drinks are not supposed to be shaken, and it started to reintroduce the classic iconic slogan and the ritual, shake it. But we can't forget when Orangina decided to hire ad agency Fred and Farid to produce multiple ads containing, well, sexualized animal characters. They had a poster campaign that looked something like these, as well as a string of TV commercials to go with it. This rocked the UK when it first came out, with many parents coming out and saying that this is very inappropriate for their children who enjoy the drink, which then led to Orangina stands being like, well, it's not only for kids, and Orangina commented on none of this, instead just leaving it to stew and gain all the free publicity around the continent. They also had a pretty cool campaign that, you guessed it, had to do with shaking the cans. But the difference is they released 50,000 limited edition cans with a sensor on the bottom that talks to you when you flip the can. I don't really know what it says honestly, but I think it's a pretty nifty idea. Which brings us up to today, where they started adding a new slogan, upgrade your taste. Based on this commercial, it seems as if Orangina is starting to brand itself as a fancier, more exquisite drink, which would be the first time they ever try to target a specific niche instead of just the general market. But no matter what, they'll never forget to make sure you know to shake it before you drink it. Looking back, we get to see a pretty cool story of a product that will not let itself die. Orangina has been through a lot and has had many different homes, but the drink has such a global likening to it that it seems as if some company will always come up and save it. Hopefully the future of Orangina continues to get brighter, as it seems Suntory is doing a good job marketing the product and putting effort into actually getting its sales return. And hopefully it'll become more of a commonplace in North American markets again, because those ads don't lie. It really is a totally different sensation when you drink one. And that's about all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, maybe think about liking, subscribing, and sharing. And always feel free to comment, whether it's just a thought on the video, a new video idea, or just a note to me. I always love everything from you guys. So stay tuned for what's in store. The next look back video will come out on February 3rd, and I will see you then. Or maybe even sooner. Who knows? Does anyone remember Full Throttle, Venom Energy, cocaine? Yeah, there were some insane ones back then. So today, come join me as we look through the top 10 wildest energy drinks from the 2000s. Now for this list, we're not looking at the big brands like Monster, Ampa, Red Bull. We're going to be focusing on some of the more hidden gems that were really influenced by the era. Starting with Pimp Juice. Pimp Juice was a brand of non-carbonated energy drinks created by Nelly, based on his song of the same name. It's one of the first celebrity-owned energy drinks and marks the first step of energy drinks entering hip-hop subculture. It was released August 2003 and reported to sell over 1 million cans in their first 3 months of business. It originally was only available regionally in the South and Midwest, but quickly expanded nationally and eventually internationally. The drink has faced controversy since its release though, with some women's organizations boycotting the drink, claiming it glamorized the sexist ideas. That wasn't its only issue, as it also came under fire for promoting negative black stereotypes. Both Nelly and the co-founder of the brewery where the drink is made defended the drink, claiming that the term pimp has changed through the years and claimed it symbolizes success and wealth. They also donated a portion of proceeds to Nelly's organization Show for Kids. Full Throttle. Full Throttle is an energy drink created and produced by Coca-Cola, first being introduced in late 2004. The brand is known for its classic automotive-inspired design, as well as sponsoring the National Hot Rod Association from 2008 to 2012. But in 2015, Monster Beverages and Coca-Cola pulled a swap. Coke gave all of its energy drinks to Monster, and Monster gave all of its non-energy drinks to Coke. Once owned by Monster, Full Throttle was still being produced, but underwent a more Wild West patriotic biker rebranding. Now the drink is seen being associated with cowboys and bikers and less of the hot rod scene. It's still nationally available in most stores in the US. Cocaine. Cocaine Energy, also known as No Name, is an insanely caffeinated energy drink produced by Reddix Beverages. Released in September 2006 by Jamie Kirby, the drink was originally meant to be named Reboot, but having already been taken, Kirby decided to go with cocaine for its controversial potential. Of course, the drink did not contain any cocaine, but was quickly criticized by lawmakers and anti-drug movements for glamorizing the idea of using cocaine to teens. It's said that the only marketing Kirby did was send a free case of it to the New York Post, hoping to get some attention. And it worked, as he earned $1.5 million in the first 3 months of the drink's release. In 2007, the FDA sent a warning letter to the company, forcing them to change their name to No Name. But they got so much support from fans that just another year later in 2008, they went back to the original name. Today, you might see one in a store, but usually you'll have to order some from the website to try it. Venom. Venom is an energy drink produced by Keurig Dr. Pepper and one of the few energy drinks available in thick aluminum bottles. Released in 2002, the drink was originally named Elements Energy and sold in a typical energy drink can. Eventually, sales started to die off for the drink, which forced them to do a major rebranding in 2008. Coming back as Venom Energy, they started to lean into the over-masculine stereotype energy drinks were victim to back then. They started partnerships with both the Arena Football League in 2008, as well as sponsored the Andretti Autosport IndyCar Series the same year. They even managed to snag Terry Crews as an official spokesperson for the brand. But yet again, shortly after they got their name back out there, they decided that was enough with the fancy sponsors and relied purely on the fans they had just made and regular energy drink consumers. They're still sold today and can be found in multiple retailers nationally. C4. Introduced in 2009 through Cellucor Company, C4 was one of the first widespread marketed pre-workout drinks. And to be honest, it's kind of been through nothing but trouble. In 2012, the state of California held a lawsuit against GNC, Cellucor's parent company, claiming their drink contained the synthetic stimulant DMAA, which needs drug classification on the labeling and needs to be approved by the government. Later that same year, the drink came under controversy again from the Interscholastic Athletics Association for containing the performance-enhancing agent cyanophrine HCl, which was what they used to replace the DMAA. Quite ironic. But because of this, it started gaining a bit of hate from the workout community itself. Not just for its shady recipes, but because they claim it doesn't actually do much for pre-workout anyway, claiming it's more similar to a caffeine buzz from just a regular energy drink. Even through all that, the drink manages to be sold today among most retailers and even has expanded their line of products massively. Street King. Street King is our second hip-hop based drink here, which was released by 50 Cent in 2011. It was marketed heavily through social media, with people like Pauly D and Joan Rivers helping 50 promote the brand. A year later, in 2012 however, they rebranded to just SK Energy and marketed it to more athletes to compete with 5 Hour Energy. While most notably, the drink promises to make a donation to the United Nations World Hunger Fund for every bottle sold. However, 50 Cent's accountant in 2015 testified that the drink was losing millions. The website is now defunct and there's not much information as to what happened to the drink after 2013. AMP. AMP was an energy drink introduced in 2001 through Mountain Dew and marked their first step into the world. Originally only having their flavors derived from already existing Mountain Dew flavors, in 2009 the drink would get a massive rebranding. From here, the drink cemented itself in the world of big energy drinks, coming out with more and more flavors and sponsoring several major sporting events during the process. For some reason, however, in the late 2010s, after a few other Mountain Dew energy drink variations, they decided to take away most of the flavors and go back to the Mountain Dew branding. No one really knows why they did this, as every article you read about AMP defines it as a leading competitor in the market, but maybe it's as simple as the times were changing. If you want more info on AMP, check out this video I made documenting its entire existence. G Fuel. G Fuel was released in 2004 through Gamma Labs. It quickly rose to popularity as it was the first energy drink to focus on the gamer niche, giving gamers a drink that lets them stay focused and alert for long periods of time. It also has a more clean recipe, making it come across as a more safe option than your typical energy drink. It was originally released in water-soluble powders before eventually expanding their products to include carbonated versions of the drink pre-made. The drinks made waves by partnering with YouTubers like FaZe Clan and PewDiePie, even gaining their own flavors in the process. It seemed like nothing could go wrong for the company as they held the ring in the market. But in 2018, G Fuel was involved in a California lawsuit claiming their drinks contained lead. Not only that, it contained enough lead that it needed warning on the labels. And if that wasn't enough, just 4 years later in 2022, the company fired several talent managers claiming a restructuring was happening after one of their executives allegedly used a slur in a conference call. They banned anyone in their Twitch streams bringing up the event, leading to several content creators announcing their department from the brand. Crunk Energy. Crunk Energy was created in 2004 by Sidney Frank, responsible for the marketing of Grey Goose Vodka and Jägermeister, as well as rapper Lil Jon. The two met on a tour that was being sponsored by Grey Goose and got along well enough to decide to make an energy drink together. It was available regionally in the South to Southwest US, but could be found in some big cities along the coast like New York, Chicago, and LA. The design was a collaborative effort between Frank and Lil Jon, with the idea being to get a consumer feeling energized. Only 2 years after its release, however, one of the founders, Sidney Frank, would pass away, leaving the future of the company unknown. His children inherited his real estate and eventually hired another co-CEO for the drink. They kept getting hard to work and released several flavors between 2006 and 2009, as well as starting to make plans to sell the drink along the Upper East Coast. While there are 2 other energy drinks on this list connected with rappers and music, this one actually stayed true to its roots and made it a goal to help sponsor artists and DJs at early points in their career, usually at a loss. They provide people with stages to perform on and promote them on their official website. But sadly, they never made enough of a jump to be able to sold nationally, and continue to be sold in a few select states as well as through their website and on Amazon. 4 Loko. While technically an alcoholic drink, it wouldn't be a 2000's energy drink video without mentioning the infamous 4 Loko. Introduced in 2005 by 3 frat boys themselves, Chris Hunter, Jason Freeman, and Jeff Wright had always had a fascination with caffeine and alcohol. Originally marketed as an energy drink, it also contained wormwood, a supposed psychoactive. Yeah, the original 4 Loko was crazy. It's not just myths when you hear all those horror stories from the past. However, the founders decided the wormwood got too expensive and in 2006 decided to just focus on improving the quality and taste of the drink. The company saw massive growth in just a few years and expanded nationally and then internationally just by 2008. And boy, it did not take long for the public to start getting concerned with these drinks. I mean, it was a national phenomenon at one point, with specific states starting to propose bans. In 2010, the FDA stepped in and issued a letter to the creators of 4 Loko along with 3 other caffeinated alcoholic beverage companies, saying that due to concerns for personal and public safety and health risks, the drink could not stay on the market in its current form, and they had 15 days to figure out how to fix the problem, before the FDA started seizing cases. Yeah, it was that bad. The concerns people were having was with the fact that the drink was being marketed to underage consumers, it caused blackouts, and due to the caffeine, it made it harder to tell when you're too drunk, causing alcohol poisoning. Well, allegedly. In 2010, the drink removed all caffeine, guarana, and taurine from their products and were left with just a purely fruity alcoholic drink, the exact thing that made them want to create a new product in general. It's pretty sad, or maybe it was for the better. You can still find them today, where they're still doing new things like collabing with Warheads. And let me know what you think of this list. Let me know what your favorites were, or if I forgot any crazy energy drinks from the era you grew up loving. Make sure to like and subscribe for more nostalgic content and new product reviews, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Hello all, and welcome back. As I'm sure many of you have heard, the iconic gum that's been bringing kids joy for decades is finally coming to an end. So today, with a heavy heart, join me as we look back on the one-of-a-kind gum strip tattoo combo that was zebra gum. Fruit stripe gum was originally invented in 1960 by a man named James Parker who worked for the Beech Nut Company. The gum was immediately a success among many children and parents, mainly due to their very kid-friendly marketing. And while I'm sure many of you watching probably assume that the zebra mascot, Yipes, is synonymous with the brand itself, but what if I told you he wasn't the original mascot for the company? In the late 1960s, Fruit Stripe introduced its first mascot, an anthropomorphic pack of gum named the Fruit Stripe Gum Man. I know, it's not the most creative, but it worked for the time. So much so that they even released a stretch toy version of him. They also introduced the Stripes animal family shortly after, which contained a mouse, tiger, elephant, and zebra. The zebra quickly became the fan favorite and was given the classic saying, "Yipes Stripes." The original gum came in 5 iconic flavors: cherry, lemon, orange, mixed berry, and lime. Check out this vintage commercial for their original product line.
Yipes, stripes, beech nuts, got 'em.
Yipes, stripes, and fruit stripe gum.
Yipes, stripes, 5 different flavors.
Get beech nut fruit stripe gum.
Not to mention 5 different colors. Cherry stripe,
Lemon stripe.
orange too.
Mixed fruit and lime stripe.
The other distinct feature with the gum is the iconic tattoo on the wrapper. There's not a lot of public reasoning available as to why they decided to make this move, but it's theorized that they were just copying Cracker Jack, who had massive success with their revolutionary temporary tattoos. There is a line on the Wikipedia page that says they also introduced a chocolate stripe flavor in the 70s, But after doing some research on some old blog posts, it seems like whoever wrote that was confusing it with the Adams ice cream sundae flavored gum sticks, which are said to also have had stripes. While it was hard to find a specific date, it appears around the late 1980s Leaf Brands acquired the Fruit Stripe brand as part of a much larger swale between Leaf Brands and Beatrice Foods. It would be around this time, based on this commercial from 1991, that this was when the original 5 flavors were changed and Yipes the Zebra became the sole mascot for the brand. In a 2021 interview with Chris Callis, the associate brand manager for Ferrera Candy, about Yipes, he said, "Fruit Stripe originally had several different animal characters represented over the years, but Yipes took the leading role due to his authentic connection to the brand's namesake striped appearance. After Yipes was selected to be the solo mascot for Fruit Stripe, the other animals stayed with the company until they retired. While they are in retirement now, it is possible that they could come back for a future reunion tour. Sadly, we now know that'll never happen." It was a new era for Fruit Stripe. The 5 flavors were changed to Wet n Wild Melon, Cherry, Lemon, Orange, and Peach Smash, and Yipes was now represented to be a cool, relatable dude. In the same interview I just mentioned, Chris Callis described Yipes' personality as a consummate professional with an eye for fashion. You can always count on him to have a styled mane and vintage threads. Despite his world-renowned success, he is still the same down-to-earth zebra he was when he first started out in the office. Yipes loves to play many different sports including soccer, football, surfing, skating, and tennis. He is an outdoorsman who loves to be in nature when he is not dominating opponents in a game of one-on-one. Pretty intense branding for a company that's just gonna kill him off 3 years. That's besides the point. During the 2000s, Fruit Stripe would plateau in sales, with your average commercial here and there, but they were pretty cemented in the minds of American children. And there was that one time in 1996 when Fruit Stripe donated 5 cents of every jumbo pack of gum they sold, totaling around $100,000, to the World Wildlife Fund to help preserve endangered species. There was also their Fruit Stripe bubblegum product line, which came in its own 5 flavors, those being cherry, grape, mixed fruit, lemon, and cotton candy. Although as hard as I tried, I couldn't find an exact product launch for the bubblegum. But the latest product we ever received from Fruit Stripe were the Fruit Stripe gummy candies in March 2022. It was the first and only time the company would ever branch out of gum territory. They came in 3 flavors, cherry, lemon, and tangerine, and lasted just barely over a year. So what happened? Why did Ferrara create a new product and have plans for a rebranding just to cancel it less than 2 years later? Why didn't they just sell it off to another company like it had been for years prior? Well, in a statement to Food & Wine magazine, Ferrara legal chief Andrew Oppenheimer, yes, that's really his last name, said, "We have to make the difficult decision to sunset Fruit Stripe gum. We did not take the decision lightly and considered many factors before coming to this decision, including consumer preferences and purchasing patterns." And that's it. There hasn't been much else said by the company except that you should just check out their other products and their impressive portfolio. So, let's take a look ourselves and maybe theorize as to why this happened. Let's start with the reason Ferrara themselves gave: the consumer market. Well, in an article published by The Atlantic, they reported between 2009 and 2015, gum sales in stores had gone down 4.7% in North America. Which might not seem like a big number at first, but if you're used to selling, let's say 1.6 million of gum, and you lost 47,000 of those sales, you definitely start to raise an eyebrow. And that's not even the worst of it. Right as gum was slightly starting to go back to normal sales, the pandemic hit. And this killed gum sales. I mean, think about it. When you were going through whatever you had to go through during the pandemic, were you ever thinking about gum? No, probably not. And this led to a 32% sales decline between 2018 and 2022 in the North American gum market. Now, if you thought losing 47,000 of that 1 million was bad, imagine losing 320,000 of it, and within a much smaller time frame. Safe to say, gum companies were definitely starting to sweat. Wrigley closed one of their own factories in 2016, and in 2022, Mondelez sold off most of their North American brands, including Denton and Trident. Even with sites like Statista saying that gum sales are expected to just be shy of 50 billion in 2025, it wasn't enough for Ferrara to hold on to Fruit Stripe. Which leads us to the last question I have: why didn't they just sell it off? Well, probably for a few reasons. Let's theorize. One is, well, money. I tried really hard in advanced search Google to figure out how much Ferrara spent on Fruit Stripe and other brands, but sadly I kept coming up short. But we can't imagine it was a pretty penny. Now, if we go back to how Ferrara announced the discontinuation, you'll remember they say to try their other products, which leads me to believe that the other brands they acquired in the same deal that they got Fruit Stripe were doing pretty well, and they probably wanted to keep those going. So, do we try to sell Fruit Stripe alone as one brand which has been seeing dying sales for a decade? No, no one would buy that. So, there would be no foreseeable way for Ferrara to get their money back with Fruit Stripe. The other reason is maybe they're just playing into nostalgia. I mean, they just released a new product in 2022, and while the pandemic severely injured the gum market, it didn't kill it. So maybe they thought they were not getting a lot of sales back, but we know that this is a beloved product, so what if we pull it off the shelves, let people reminisce about it for a while, and just when they think they forgot all about it, boom, Fruit Stripes are back in the stores. But hey, that's just a theory. Looking back, we get to see the story of a product that was meant for kids, stay for kids, and that's pretty cool. While Fruit Stripe has had many different homes and is now in retirement, we can appreciate all the short bursts of flavor we got out of them, and not to mention the cool tattoos. I mean, name another company that does that. Well, whatever. And boy, I will never ever forget this absolute legend. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you all watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hey, comment some of your favorite Fruit Stripe memories. And look forward to the next look back video on February 18th. Peace. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be looking back at one of the most underrated sodas to ever hit the game that still harbors a cult following, Pepsi Twist. Well, before we get into Pepsi Twist, we need to go back to Pepsi Light, the first technical iteration of the drink. Pepsi Light was, well, a light version of Pepsi introduced in the 60s. It had a lemon flavor to it almost only due to the fact that the drink contained saccharin, a sugar alternative that had a funky aftertaste. But pretty shortly after its release, aspartame became widely available, which allowed Pepsi to remove the lemon flavoring and reintroduce their Diet Pepsi line. The only problem was they had already created a fan base of people who enjoyed the lemon flavoring, especially as an alternative to Coca-Cola lemon. But it wouldn't be all the way until July 12, 2000, Pepsi would first introduce Pepsi Twist, a lemon flavored cola along with a diet version. The drink only lasted for the summer, and when it ended, there was still a very upset fan base. It was brought back the next year in June 2001, with it becoming popular enough to land a spot on the permanent roster until 2006, when it was officially discontinued in the United States. It did make a brief comeback in 2008 under the name Pepsi NFL Kickoff for the start of that year's football season, and had a double points promotion for the Pepsi Stuff website. But since then, we haven't gotten any new release of Pepsi Twist in the US. However, there are still some countries in Europe and Asia that sell the drink. In fact, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Pepsi Twist regularly outsells the original cola. And in South America, the drink was actually infused with a lime flavor instead of lemon. Some countries like Cyprus didn't even start selling them until 2014, while Canada just brought them back for a limited edition in 2017. So, Pepsi is still very fond of this idea, and hopefully it's just a matter of time before we get it back. Pepsi Twist was marketed pretty heavily, as Pepsi knew this variation in the US was kind of a hit or miss. It was first advertised by Britney Spears throughout 2002 and 2003 as part of her endorsement deal with the brand, with the first commercial actually being a crossover with Mike Myers for the Austin Powers and Goldmember movie coming out the same year. This also led to Mike Myers guest starring in the music video for Boys, all because of Pepsi. Also, in 2003, as with every new product, Pepsi released a Super Bowl commercial for the drink, starring huge names like Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne, Donnie and Marie Osmond, and Florence Henderson. In 2005, Japanese toy company Takara released an Optimus Prime figurine that came with a tiny cardboard bottle of Pepsi Twist, and it was even popular enough for American wrestler CM Punk to dub his signature move the Pepsi Twist. But sadly, none of that was enough for Pepsi to keep it going. In 2020, they replied to a fan on Twitter asking if there were any plans on the return of Pepsi Twist, which was met with a stark no. But they did say they'll pass it on to the people who care, so probably nobody. Looking back, we see a very short story of a product that just still hasn't truly gotten its time to shine, not in over 20 years, and I think that's a little sad, especially with the undeniable fan base surrounding it, and the fact that they still produce it in several countries. It doesn't seem like the American branch of Pepsi really cares about our opinions. Well, that and probably had something to do with consistently underperforming sales. But hopefully if we keep bothering them, they'll bring it back. And don't even get me started on cherry vanilla Pepsi. I appreciate you all so much for watching. It always means the world to me, and I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you remember Pepsi Twist or other things you'd like to see us look back on. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking back at a very iconic candy that had mega success in the 2000s. So today, sit back as we look back at Baby Bottle Pops.
It's Baby Bottle Pop.
It's a baby bottle pop.
Just lick the pop, dip it and shake it, and lick it again.
It's a baby bottle pop.
Baby Bottle Pop.
Baby Bottle Pops, the candy pop you lick and dip.
Baby Bottle Pops were first introduced in 1998 by the Topps Company. There's not really one name or persona behind it, so we can assume it was probably just an idea brought up in some meeting. The product had a very, unique shape to say the least, and reinvented the classic lick 'em and stick 'em style of candies. While it had a silly design, it was actually very useful because as the slogan says, you can lick it and stick it in your pocket. It was one of the first types of candies that was meant to be carried with you places. Especially with this type of candy, you can't exactly eat half of your fun dip and put it in your pocket. It would be gross and messy. And while still being a very sugary candy, it encouraged kids to not have a lot at once. Just one could last you days if you wanted. Safe to say they took off, and that jingle sure did help. Even I remember singing it as a kid all the time. The company only had the one product, which was available in a couple of flavors. But in 2001, something amazing happened. I was born. No, I'm just kidding. In 2001, they released their 2D Max version of the candy, which had all the same elements as the original, but it added another compartment on the bottle for a crunchy candy as well as the normal sugary powdery one, which then prompted them to just release the crunch version by itself as well. They went pretty steady for a while, with some slight variations to the jingle, but in 2008, the jingle was recorded by the Jonas Brothers, which just made it that much better. And because of them being the Jonas Brothers, the candy was automatically associated with Nickelodeon and Disney consumers, creating a very large crossover market. 2008 was also the same year they came out with their own online game. You could buy Baby Bottle Pops and put the code on the bottle onto the website and gain points and items. It was basically a Club Penguin style online virtual game for kids. Now let's talk about the products and flavors they had. Starting with the original 6, we have Blue Raspberry, Watermelon Blast, Strawberry Berry Blast, Tropical Punch, and Rainbow Sherbet. They've also added Cherry Watermelon, Fruit Punch, Unicorn Glitter Berry, and Cosmic Strawberry Lemonade. For the 2D Maxes, we have Blue Raspberry Watermelon, Strawberry Watermelon, Strawberry Overload, and Berry Bonanza. They have blue raspberry, strawberry, and watermelon flavors of their popping powder line, which gives the candy a Pop Rocks-like effect. And of course, they have Baby Bottle candy canes, because of course. They also had a liquid version of the candy at some point called Baby Bottle Pop Candy Juice. I assume they came in the original flavors based on this commercial, but not much is known about it. When it comes to these kinds of products, it's hard to get any backstory or find any type of research on it because it was probably just made by a large company where all they care about is pushing out a product. Usually the only way to get that kind of info is trying to find somebody who used to work there, because as we've learned from Hot Cheetos, you can't really just trust the company when they tell you a story. Even with things like Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar doesn't like developers talking about how the games were made. It's kind of weird. But that's about all we have for Baby Bottle Pops. They're still around, but all the silly campaign ads they were once committed to have now vanished, and it's just a standard in the store. We can always reminisce on the old commercials though, and that feeling it gave us eating one as a kid, or an adult, I don't judge. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're interested, and hey, maybe even possibly like the video, and share it with a friend or on Reddit or something. And that's it. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.